Ed Miliband is a pathological liar, and he isn't even trying to hide it. Even his own cabinet are slamming him over a recent taxpayer scandal. In today's video, we will go over it all whilst going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we have new Make Britain Great. Again, t-shirts available on our store. Go grab them now. They are available at britishstand.com or check the link in the description. The British public could be forgiven for thinking that Ed Miliband is completely out of his depth, a politician whose photo ops in high-vis jackets and hard hats can't conceal the chaos and poor judgment behind his decisions. The recent scandal is just the latest chapter in Miliband's troubling tenure. £43,000 of taxpayers' money has reportedly vanished, allegedly spent on refurbishing his office in the Net Zero department. When grilled about this in a radio interview, Miliband did what he does best: stuttered, deflected, and offered a flimsy excuse, saying he's focused on the nation's energy system. But focused on what exactly? Certainly not accounting for public funds. He didn't even seem to know if the money was used for a new office chair. But this isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a pattern. Miliband is also facing scrutiny over a £4 million donation to the Labour Party and a personal £99,000 gift from a group tied to his newly appointed climate envoy. When asked about whether these funds were properly declared, he dodged the questions like a seasoned escape artist. Transparency? Accountability? Not in Ed's playbook. Let's take a hard look at his so-called energy policy, which he touts as the backbone of his vision for Britain's future. Miliband has doubled down on wind turbines and solar farms as the cure-all for our energy needs. But his push to classify these projects as nationally significant infrastructure effectively strips local councils and communities of the power to challenge these developments in their areas. Miliband preaches a clean energy revolution, but reality paints a starkly different picture. Just yesterday, wind power accounted for only 8.3% of our electricity, while gas bore the brunt of demand. Worse, we've spent over £1 billion this year alone shutting down wind turbines to avoid grid overloads. If this is what he calls a renewable success, one dreads to think what failure looks like. Miliband insists that renewables will spark £40 billion in investment, but the burden is falling squarely on ordinary Britons. Skyrocketing energy bills and hidden green levies are funding this pipe dream. Meanwhile, £22 billion has already been poured into carbon capture projects that have yet to yield any significant results. And while he's busy touting green jobs, thousands of real, hard-working jobs in steelworks, coal plants and oil rigs are disappearing under his watch. And what about nuclear energy? For a fraction of the cost of HS2, we could have built 2 nuclear plants, powering 12 million homes, and providing a stable, low-carbon energy source. Instead, Miliband has ignored this practical solution in favour of an inconsistent patchwork of renewables that falter whenever the wind doesn't blow. Miliband's leadership, or lack thereof, isn't just a comedy of errors. It's a tragedy for Britain. His policies aren't grounded in pragmatism or fiscal responsibility, but in a green utopianism that simply doesn't hold water. The cost of his mismanagement is being borne by everyday citizens, from higher energy bills to lost jobs. Let's not sugarcoat it. Ed Miliband is steering Britain into a costly and unsustainable future. His inability to address scandals, provide transparency, or deliver effective energy solutions reveals a politician more focused on optics than outcomes. What do you think? Is Ed Miliband's approach reckless ambition or just plain incompetence? Share your thoughts below. In other news, more than 35,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel so far this year, British Stand can exclusively reveal. The grim milestone figure was reached this morning after at least 250 migrants made the illegal journey in 5 small boats. After more than a week of no small boat crossings because of bad weather in the Channel, more than 1,150 migrants reached UK waters in just the past 3 days. It takes the provisional number assessed by British Stand to 35,130 since the beginning of the year. That figure is 21% ahead of the 29,090 who crossed at this point last year. The total figure for this year so far is almost 6,000 ahead of the 29,437 who arrived in UK waters during the whole of last year. The latest totals will make uncomfortable reading for the Prime Minister, who has promised to end small boat crossings by smashing the gangs. Sir Keir Starmer has announced a number of recent high-profile arrests and raids, targeting those who supply small boats and other equipment to the criminal gangs along the northern French coast. But maritime security sources have confirmed that law enforcement activity caused relatively minor boat supply issues, at best. One source added, "There are multiple well-established supply lines. If one supplier is taken out, the gangs can quickly adapt and overcome. The only real determinant of how many boats cross the channel is the weather. The totals over the past week would likely have been even higher, but for the winter storms sweeping across much of the UK. Official Home Office figures show that when conditions improved on Thursday, 609 migrants crossed in 9 small boats. Yesterday, a further 298 made the illegal journey in 5 boats. On Saturday morning, Kent news producer confirmed at least 250 others crossed in the early morning. The latest arrivals also take the total number of small boat migrants since Labour came to power in July to more than 21,500. A Home Office spokesperson said, "We all want to end dangerous small boat crossings, which threaten lives and undermine border security. The people smuggling gangs do not care if the vulnerable people they exploit live or die, as long they pay. We will stop at nothing to dismantle their business models and bring them to justice." Lastly, Prince Andrew's finances are being investigated by the MI5, according to new claims as the Duke of York broke his silence on an ongoing scandal into his links with an alleged spy. The Duke of York's business venture is understood to have received money from Chinese donors with links to an alleged Communist Party spy. The Telegraph has since claimed that the alleged Chinese money given to Andrew is being investigated by the security services. The disclosure comes after it emerged on Thursday that the alleged spy, described as a close confidant of the Duke of York in court documents, had been banned from the UK on national security grounds. The office of the Duke of York has since broken its silence with Andrew's first comments on the scandal. The Duke of York insisted that he ceased all contact with the businessman accused of being a Chinese spy after receiving advice from the government. The statement said, "The Duke of York followed advice from HMG and ceased all contact with the individual after concerns were raised. The Duke met the individual through official channels, with nothing of a sensitive nature ever discussed." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.